this is the Magnate. On this week's edition, we are reaching you from Gallup Chamber in the city of Ilorin, is capital of Kwara State, the state of harmony. Today, we shall be focusing on the legal profession. I'm sure you're hazarding a guess as to who our guest for the week is. We shall focus on litigation vis-a-vis arbitration. Of course, we are also going to be looking at growing our businesses because he's well endowed to interact with us. Let's give you this background report of his profile. When we come back, it will be an interactive conversation with our Magnate for the week. Join us shortly.
Yusuf Ali, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Principal Partner at Gallup Chamber, started his early life by being enrolled in a local Quranic school and in a formal school in 1960. After his primary education, he went to a secondary modern school for 3 years. He worked briefly before he gained admission to Ibadan Boys High School, Ibadan, where he passed the school certificate with grade 1. He was the labor prefect. He again worked briefly as a clerical officer in the old Oyo State Ministry of Finance as a tax officer posted to Igbora in 1977. He gained admission to University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in 1978 and graduated with a second-class upper division for his Bachelor and Laws degree. He was a winner of prestigious Federal Merit Awards for undergraduates and a university scholar while an undergraduate at Ife. He attended the Nigerian Law School where he also passed with a second-class upper division. About a decade after graduation, Yusuf Ali went back to his alma mater for his master's program, which he completed with flying colors in 1991. When he bagged his LLM, he was appointed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria in 1989 as a notary public. He attained the highest professional honor at the Nigerian Bar in 1997 when he was conferred with the prestigious and honorable title of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. Yusuf Ali has been in active legal practice for over 3 decades. He joined the law firm of Adegboyega Awolomo & Co. in 1983 and rose to become a partner before he left to found his own law firm in June 1994. He is the principal and founder of the law firm Yusuf O. Ali & Co. Gallup Chambers, with offices at Ilorin, Lagos and Abuja, with Ilorin as the head office. Yusuf Ali SAN is a member of many professional bodies such as Nigerian Bar Association, International Bar Association, American Bar Association, Commonwealth Lawyers Association, among others. He has won and conferred with many fellowships such as Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK, Fellow, Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Nigeria, Member, Chartered Institute of Taxation, Nigeria, Fellow, Society for Peace Studies and Practice, Fellow, Dispute Resolution Institute, Honorary Fellow, Nigerian Mining and Geoscience Society. Yusuf Ali SAN also served and is still serving on boards of many companies and institutions. He was the chairman Kwara State Law Reform Committee. He is a member of the Board of Trustees of Al-Hikmah University, Ilorin. He was the pioneer chairman, Council of Public Defenders, Kwara State. He is the chairman board of directors, Apex Microfinance Bank Limited. Yusuf Ali SAN held and still holds many professionals, too numerous to count. Mr. Yusuf Ali SAN is a patron and legal advisor to many professional and sociocultural groups all over Nigeria. He is also an associate lawyer at the Faculty of Law, University of Ilorin. He has delivered more than 200 papers on different and diverse topics at various fora, including the International Bar Association Conference, Commonwealth Law Association Conference, annual conferences of the Nigerian Bar Association, among others. Yusuf Ali has been awarded more than 100 honors from within and outside Nigeria. The endowment of the awards in his palatial chamber is an intimidating and diverse. He is listed in the American Biographical Institute, Who is Who, as well as in Nigeria's Who is Who. He is an ardent believer of keep fit exercise and philanthropist with a strong belief of giving back to the society and adding value to lives under the aegis of his foundation. Yusuf Ali is a well-traveled man and has visited all the continents of the world for professional and educational purposes.
You're welcome back. The program is still the Magnate, and it's my pleasure, really delighted to be hosted in the Gallup Chamber, where Barrister Yusuf Olaolu Ali is the managing partner. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you for hosting us. We must congratulate you on your legal practice in Nigeria.
Thank you,
which is
much.
More or less international, global recognition. In simple terms, what is litigation, sir?
Litigation is the process where two individuals or corporate organizations or government department have disagreement, and they submit such disagreement to the courts for adjudication. The process that drives that attempt to settle disagreement using the court system is what you call litigation.
When they use litigation, we also hear the other side, arbitration. What is the difference? Are there differences in the two of them?
Of course, there are. Arbitration is a system where when individuals or corporate bodies have disagreements about their agreements which they have reached, one party is alleging the agreement has been breached, the other one is saying no, it has not been breached. It's a method of settlement of disagreement using private means now, whereas litigation is you use government institutions, the courts.
Okay.
Whereas in arbitration, the individuals will choose their own judge or judges who will preside and decide on who is right or who is wrong. But unlike litigation, where the outcome is a judgment, in arbitration, you call it an award.
Okay.
Because it is less adversarial than litigation.
Now, on the other side, we hear of ADR. Oh, is it related to these two that we're
ADR, arbitration is just an aspect of ADR. It's
okay.
Alternative dispute resolution. Under it, you have arbitration, which is the most pronounced. You have mediation. You have good offices and such other methods, which is in the hands of private people. It is the individuals that have issues that will choose the mode of alternative dispute resolution. It is used advisedly in contrast to litigation.
Okay. Now, how well is the litigant protected in Nigerian law practice?
Our laws protect every person who approaches the court for resolution of any dispute. For example, even our Constitution, in Section 36 of Section 1, the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, protects the rights of every individual to fair hearing, which means that nobody can be condemned or damnified without hearing his own side. So that is the takeoff point. Okay. And then, of course, there are rules of court, there are laws, other laws that support and bolster the rights of litigants before the courts.
Okay, I mean, from your practice, is it possible to combine this?
The two parts of the practice.
Yes,
it's very possible.
Or can you specialize?
For example, yes, you can also decide that, okay, I'm no more going to do litigation, I'll be doing arbitration. For people like me, for example, we combine the two. I'm a litigator, as Americans will call it. That is a lawyer that goes to court to try to vindicate people's rights. Number two, I'm also an arbitrator. I'm actually a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration of the UK and even of Nigeria. So you can combine the two. There are some of our colleagues who have started to branch out earlier.
Is there a special training apart from going to study law in the university, the law school? Do you have special training to be a litigator?
Technically speaking, there's no such thing as special training. I think what you have is pupillage and tutelage.
Okay.
When you leave the law school, it's advisable you try to work in a law firm depending on your interest. If you want to become a litigator, for example, there are big law firms in Nigeria that are very good in litigation, that is, in going to court to assist people to vindicate their rights. If you want to go the way of ADR, by way of arbitration or mediation, there are also now law firms that are well known for this. And of course, there are also law firms that are hybrid, like our own law firm. We do litigation, we do arbitration. So it depends on your interest. But the important thing is, when you leave the law school, it's good to have some level of pupillage some level of training.
Apprenticeship.
Yes, something like apprenticeship in well-established law firms. And then you pay attention to the area of law in which you actually really want to work in later in life. So that is the training that is necessary. And I think in most professions, that's what you get. The Nigerian Bar Association is now trying to institute continued legal education, like it happens in other jurisdictions, where you attend some courses in a year and you are granted some points, which is part of the things that will be considered when you are renewing your license for practice the coming year.
What you are well known for, pardon me, I know you want to be a bit modest, is high-profile cases in the political arena, so to say. I mean, winning more than even if there are losses. What's the drive? I mean, that's what informed asking if there's a special training, because you are not alone in the profession, but we see some of the cases you handle, you come top-notch.
As a lawyer, one thing one should do is that you must first of all know that there's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute for honesty. There's no substitute for integrity. And there's no substitute for search for knowledge all the time. In my career, I've done quite a number of election dispute resolution cases. I just want to say that the training I had and the passion I have is that I try to be the best in anything I set out to do. And that, to me, should be the driving force of all persons, no matter where you find yourself, in any profession or vocation. Try to be the best that you can be. And I think never get satisfied with your attainment, whatever it is.
All right.
You must always be hungry for successes.
For knowledge too.
And of course for knowledge.
Thank you very much. Let's go for a breather now. Asking more questions about that on legal practice and also growing businesses, because he has a knack for nurturing and mentoring young businesses. We'll be back shortly.
It was another successful hosting of AIMS Media webinar on digital switchover, the third in the series tagged 3.0. The webinar slated for Thursday, 1st of April, started in earnest with the opening remarks by the Chief Host and Director General of MBC, Professor Armstrong Idachaba.
Activities have begun. We have set out the timelines with an announcement of the rollout timetable. Already, the ministerial task force is up and running. Virtually every day, every week, meetings are going on, subcommittees are meeting. There's a lot of activity going on, and in the next few days, we virtually relocate partially to Lagos with the task force paying a visit to the governor of Lagos State. The NBC on its own had two key interventions in Lagos lately. First of all, going to see the rollout sites of the signal distributors and seeing for itself the state of preparedness.
This was immediately followed with the message of the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, which hinged on the subject matter.
Before we embark on the analog switch off in any state, we will ensure that the digital terrestrial television, DTT, signal has covered at least 70% of the population in the state.
The representative of the minister also delivered his speech.
It is no longer in doubt that the federal government is doing all things possible to ensure the successful rollout of and implementation of the digital switch over, a transition from analog to digital television broadcasting in Nigeria.
The focus of the webinar was on the technical requirements of DSO, which was aptly presented by Engineer Edward Amana in a colorful PowerPoint presentation.
Why switch over from analog to digital terrestrial television? As you may be aware, all wireless communication, be it radio, television, telephony, that's GSM, Wi-Fi, or radar, all of these utilize the electromagnetic spectrum. For terrestrial television broadcasting, the following sections of the spectrum are used. 48 to 181 megahertz is used for VHF television in band 1. Technical requirements. We can look at these from the following perspectives. One, the standard for the digital terrestrial transmission, and then look at the other aspect of it, the broadcast chain itself, which comprises of the content, the transmission network, and the reception.
The discussant raised more salient issues that bordered on signal distribution, set-top buses, and more. First was the Chief Operating Officer of Star Times, Mr. Tunde Aino, then the GM of NTA Properties, Mr. Maswell Loko.
From the side of the content providers, as in the channels, how are you reacting to this new regime? Now, before you have, of course, the former model of analog TV, especially before we had so many channels, is you have one single channel that is trying to please everybody. In the morning, you have your breakfast show. Later, you have some religious show. You have children belts. You have language belts. But now things are changing. The audience is becoming more and more sophisticated.
What must we do to develop a self-sustaining and a commercially driven model so that we don't have to continuously depend on government, as it happens all over the world? You know, in my opinion, the sustenance of the DSO cannot be guaranteed, given the enormous resources required to actualize it, if there are no incentives for the companies in the value chain to recoup their investment.
In his comment as the host and the Director General of NTA, Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad commended the efforts of the organizer, which he says is timely.
I'd like to thank Haji Amina, the Chief Executive of the organizers for this very auspicious event. And I'd like to assure you that NTA will always be there to work with other stakeholders to ensure the successful implementation of the DSO project in this country.
The interactive questions and answers section further provided the avenue for the DG, MBC, and speakers to clear the grey areas. The vote of thanks was delivered by the host and the Chairman Board of Directors of Ames Media.
We thank all of you for attending this webinar today, the third in the series. On this note, I want to implore you to watch out for DSO 4.0.
The webinar was moderated by Aja Amina Muhammad, the MD of Ames Media, and was assisted by Dr. Olajobi of Neo Neurons.
You're welcome back. This is the Magnate, and we're reaching you from Gallup Chamber. It's a law firm, the city of Ilorin, capital of Kwara State, the state of harmony. And I have with us, conversing with us on the Magnate today, Barrister Yusuf Olaolu, the managing partner. You're welcome to the program again, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Now, let's look at your interest in nurturing young lawyers. Some of them you have groomed to the extent of even becoming senior advocate themselves. We have heard testimonies here and there. In fact, for the past few days, it's testimonies we've been hearing. What's the drive? Because some people will think, I don't want any competition. I don't want anybody to rub shoulder with me. Tell us, share with us.
Well, you know, the Yorubas, they have this very interesting adage that the sky is wide enough for all birds, not only to fly, but to also thrive.
To perch.
And I formed the impression, even from the time I was a younger person, that the success of a person, to say a person is successful, it has to be benchmarked against how many others have you assisted to get to their feet, either in the profession or in other spheres of life. As people will say it, how many people have you assisted in making? And of course, I appreciate the fact that I hold the society a lot of gratitude. So, to mentor others, to try to assist others, I see as payback for the society that God has used to also raise me from a position of nothing or nothingness.
Same thing goes for young businesses. We also hear that you nurture businesses, the young ones, you have interest in several businesses. Now, one will tend to ask if it's just to have interest in these businesses to become a shareholder or become chairman and a major key player in all these businesses.
The little interventions I've ever had and I'm trying to do is just to try to assist others. Since God has been very kind to me, I think I should extend part of the kindness to other people. When people bring their business things and I think I can be of assistance, like I always tell people, I may not be able to give you all the resources you need, but you can be sure I will try to assist in my own little way. And I try as much as possible to ensure that nobody comes to ask and goes empty-handed. It may not be up to what you require,
Expectation.
but at least I will ensure that I put something there in terms of assistance. Even in cases in which I may not be able to help materially, I sometimes also contribute whatever little knowledge I have to advise and counsel.
Do you think from the onset, businesses are well structured in Nigeria? Because the high rates of collapse, business on life support.
You see, Nigeria is a peculiar country. We always look for quick fix, quick profit. All those big corporations and industries we hear about outside of Nigeria started small and they grow. Many of our startup business people want to start from the top, whereas you have to start from the base. And I always tell people that I'm a student of tokenism, or I'm a gradualist. I believe in starting small, growing bigger. So, and of course, you must remain constantly focused. Why most of the businesses in our country usually run into bad weather is one, lack of proper planning, inadequate planning, insufficient preparations, and then sometimes even people who go to the banks to take money for businesses divert part of the money to acquire comfort materials, non-necessities, set realizable targets, set attainable objectives. And then you'll be very sure. And then, of course, you must be committed to it. You must give it your all. There can't be half measures.
Okay. This conversation will not be complete if we don't zero in. Like I said, you are somebody of modesty. Your contribution to several tertiary institutions in the country. And then, of course, you are the sitting chairman of the Osun State Governing Council, so to say. Now, the question is, apart from all your contribution in terms of infrastructure and all that, part of giving back to the society, like you said earlier, how do you think the pandemic has affected learning in tertiary institutions? Because we hear now online and all that, particularly when you think of the concerns of the poor educational sector.
I think the pandemic, even though devastating and debilitating, has provided a lot of new vistas for education generally, either tertiary or even lower levels of our educational system. When the pandemic became full-blown about the middle of last year,
the lockdown,
I told some people, I said, you know, this thing is good for our country. The reason is because, I said, at least for the health sector, our health sector has been neglected for too many years. And a time came when the high and the low, the rich and the poor, the well-to-do and not well-to-do, we were all confined within the space of our country. So those who ordinarily had access and could run out of Nigeria for the slightest of ailment were constrained to remain here. And for me, that provides a good opportunity for our leaders to do what is right with our health system. And I can tell you there are snippets of such things. Before this pandemic became this full-blown, there were not more than maybe 1 or 2 places in Nigeria where you could test for COVID. Today, virtually every state has a PCR lab.
The Magnate is still the program. Let's give you a break. Let's halt the conversation at this point. We'll continue with this interesting interaction with Barrister Yusuf Olaolu, same time next week. Join us then.